Hello, guys, and welcome to the full 90. It has been a while. As you know, I was on obviously a vacation holiday, so that hence why we haven't streamed in quite obviously a long time. So yeah, I'm back. I'm now refreshed and ready to go get back into obviously fantasy. So yeah, I've obviously missed it, and you guys have obviously missed a lot of my and Huss's game weeks in the recent two or three that we've had. So yeah, we're now on game week 11. So yeah, here we are for the obviously the team selection for that. I will recap obviously game week 10 to see how obviously that went down. There has been a lot of obviously player changes in my team, as you can see. Very interesting setup in terms of formation, as you might be surprised as well. But yeah, before we get into it, guys, make sure you give this video a like, subscribe for more, and leave a comment down below if you wish. Huss is unable to make it to the stream. Hopefully, he could be on the next one, but it'll just be me for this, obviously, video. But yeah, it's nice, obviously, to be back. So let's begin with obviously the team that I went with in game week 10. So it was a decent week for game week 10, 73 points in total. So quickly, just run through. So Donnarumma, no clean sheet for Man City. They won 3-1 in the end, only 2 points for him. He also got a yellow card for wasting time in that game. So yeah, only 2 points for Donnarumma. Moving on to the back five. So I wish I showed you game week 9 because the back five worked really well in that game week. But again, it kind of worked pretty decent this week. Gabriel was double 12.2-0 Arsenal, comfortable game for them. And yeah, they're sailing in top place in the table. Senesi, only 3 points for him. He did get defensive contribution. So there is something there, I guess, for the pointage. Otherwise, yeah, they're obviously Bournemouth lost 3-1. Van der Ven, only 2 points for him. Not much to speak about in that fixture. Munoz, on the other hand, gets 6 for his clean sheet against Brentford. And Cash has 0 for the Liverpool game, where they lost 2-0. Moving on to the midfield three. So Kudus is on 1 point for the yellow card. No goal involvement from Spurs as Chelsea won 1-0. Semenyo as well. Only got 2 points. No, he wasn't part of the goal that Bournemouth scored in that Man City game. And finally, Salah, who is the massive sellout in terms of ownership, has returned again with another goal, clean sheet point, and got bonus 2 as well on top of that. So yeah, I have hanged on to Salah. It has been a bad time. Obviously, owning Salah, if you did have him from the very beginning, hasn't been as impactful to have him. But I feel like the it's sort of turning now. His form and his reliance now is sort of going in the right direction. And moving on to the front two, we got João Pedro and Haaland, both equaling returns. So João Pedro gets a goal, bonus 3, 1-0 to Chelsea, the only goal scored in that game. Then Haaland does what Haaland does, scores 2, gets a bonus 3, only playing 80 minutes or so in that game against Bournemouth. So yeah, if he stayed on for longer, maybe he would have got his hat trick. But he has led the trail of obviously 2 goals in pretty much most games now for Man City. So he is obviously the threat, as we would say. Salah is also the threat as well, but it looks like Haaland is having a great start to the season in comparatively to Salah. But I feel like things will change as the season progresses. But I did captain obviously Haaland in that game, which I'm delighted with. He's now pretty much template. It doesn't really matter now for obviously getting the captain on Haaland, but at least I picked the right captain for this week. So that's basically game week, obviously 10 out of the way. Let me just showcase what game week 11 has in store. So obviously the deadline's on Saturday, so we have got a few more. Obviously we've got Friday, and then obviously the day, I think it's 11 a.m. Deadline, so you have until then to obviously sort your team out. But this is my current team at the moment. So Donnarumma in goal, who's got Liverpool at home. It's going to be a great game. I think Man City, Liverpool, 2 teams who haven't really got off on their front foot this season, but it seems like at that pivotal moment where both teams are looking to find their feet. So we'll be interested to see who comes off on top, unless it's a draw. But yeah, it should be a good game. Not looking like a clean sheet, if I'm honest, but hopefully Donny Raba gets a lot of saves in that game to make up for it. Moving on to the back five. So yeah, I've gone with a new, obviously, format of my team. Back five. This is as we know, as part of the bus in fantasy. So yeah, it's working really well. I didn't think it would. I thought it'd be like a car crash having the back five, but it has surprised me how it's worked so far. I mean, my rank is not to justify that, but if you saw what my rank was previously before I had Haaland in the team, going with obviously the five at the back has been beneficial. So we've got Gabriel, Senesi, Van der Ven, Munoz, and Cash, all with decent to average fixture. So I think Gabriel has arguably the best fixture there in the back. Obviously, the back five, even though we shouldn't underestimate Sunderland, especially when they're playing home and also have to play away. Big game, I think, for Arsenal as well, if they want to keep ahead of obviously Liverpool, Man City, and not be able to lose points on the chase. So yeah, it's a big game for Arsenal again to get the 3 points and maybe extend that lead into the top of the table. Senesi, on the other hand, that's the Villa away. Again, it's a mixed fixture for that one. Maybe not a clean sheet. Maybe an attack return from Senesi if Bournemouth get on the ball in that fixture, but it won't be easy away at Aston Villa. But bear in mind, Aston Villa did play, obviously, I think they play tonight. So maybe that is an advantage for Bournemouth, who had a week's rest. Van der Ven has Man United at home, and yeah, I've been quite impressed, obviously, with Man United in the recent weeks. I feel like they've been really good, picked up a really great form out of nowhere. But yeah, it seems to have found their feet finally, and it's less pressure on Amrin. But again, it's going to be another tough, obviously, match for Van der Ven, who did really well in Gameweek 9, which is the reason why I wanted to show you guys how many points Van der Ven got, because as you know, he was the player. He scored big in Gameweek 9. And then we've got Munoz, who has Brighton at home, and obviously Cash has Bournemouth home. So yeah, it's a mixed bag. These are really for the attacking threat that they provide, these players that I've got in the back five, which all have the possibility of doing it. And they have shown that from game week to game week. Moving on to the midfield three. So we've got flagged Kudus, who has Man United at home. I think he is my priority in terms of transfers, which I will come on to later. But just regardless of his flag, he is going to be one that I'm going to talk about more later on in my transfer part of the video. And then you got Semenyo, who has Aston Villa away. And ever since I brought him in, he's been absolutely silent. He has not got me. I don't think he hasn't got me anything apart from an assist. I think against Crystal Palace, but yeah, apart from that, he's been really quiet, and that's typical FPL when you bring a player in who's had goals and assists game week after game week, and when you bring him in, nothing. So I'm gonna hold on to obviously Semenyo because he's still very highly owned, and anything from him can be dangerous to your rank. And then we got sort of like a differential with Salah, who is 24% owned. So if you really consider how much Salah is owned in the past seasons of fantasy football, that's quite generous. So I don't mind having Salah in the team, even if he blanked against Man City. I feel like having Salah at this moment in time is the best thing you can do. If you can afford it, obviously, with Haaland next to him and fund a decent team around them too, it's great to have Salah. Because he's not template. A lot of people sold him, millions of obviously owners. His points are more worth obviously having in the team. So other than Haaland, who is template. So yeah, I think hanging on to Salah has not been such a bad idea. His form was going to pick up eventually, and it has in recent game weeks, and especially with the team that obviously the team that was selecting game week 10 it seems to have improved over the quality of Liverpool in general. Instead of what we have seen in previous game weeks for Liverpool. And then up the front, obviously the front two forwards are João Pedro and Haaland. So João Pedro has a nice fixture against Wolves, who look like they are going to be relegated. The manager was, I think, resigned or was sacked, either one. So yeah, I think it's a good fixture for João Pedro and for Chelsea assets in that game, especially at home. You'd think Chelsea will put in a good performance and get the 3 points. Although Wolves will be fine, so there could be some danger in that, obviously in that game, but could be some goals in both sides of the net. And then you got Haaland, who has Liverpool at home, so it's Haaland versus Salah. Obviously this week, this is why it's an exciting, obviously, match at the weekend. Who comes up on top? It's hard to say. Both teams are fighting for that, obviously, their improvement. So yeah, it looks like Haaland in the recent weeks has taken the podium, but can Salah sort of obviously knock Haaland off the podium against that in that game? I think the only benefit is Man City play at the Etihad and Liverpool have to play away, so we'll see how that goes. And then obviously I have a non-playing bench, so Darlow, Potts, Donovan, and Obi. I think Darlow sometimes plays in goal, but he's not nailed. Obviously, but yeah, it's a non-playing bench, so I have to hope that every single player in that 11 starts. That's the only risk to this format, but I think I do have to change it because, well, obviously, let's move on to the transfer page, and I'll show you. So here is the transfer side of my team. So we do have three transfers I've saved up since wildcarding, I believe. And yeah, there has been one player I've been thinking of removing, and that is, like I said earlier, Kudus. Not because he's flag. He hasn't really returned the last three against Aston Villa, Everton, or Chelsea, and he has tough fixtures coming up with Man United and Arsenal next, which I don't expect much for Kudus. He has shown some potential in games, in those 3 games, but nothing has come of it. So I want to go in another direction instead of him. So I will remove Kudus. And this is a player that doesn't really get goal involvements, but I like his next 2 fixtures. And in the absence of Cole Palmer, he seems to be thriving in that midfield. And he is a Chelsea player. And it's Caicedo, who obviously has Wolves. So potentially I might go double Chelsea attack and go with Caicedo. He's cheap as well, so I have 0.6 million in the bank. So it does give me extra room to maybe upgrade one of my players. It would be in the midfield. It's going to be hard to in obviously the forwards because there's not really any cheap forwards. But in the midfield, I could upgrade maybe Donovan or Potts, so I have an extra player on the bench. But I think for this week, I'll just save those 2 free transfers and just as a safety net and just bring in Caicedo. And see what you can do. I mean, if we look at Caicedo's form, he had a great game against Tottenham, 10-pointer. Last 2 games, Sunderland, not Forest, only 2 and 1 point. But, I mean, yeah, that was not what I wanted. I'm trying to get his history. There we go. So, yeah, he's had a mixed bag of goals. Well, his last goal was scored against Liverpool, surprisingly. Gameweek 7. Other than that, he has no attacking returns apart from that, obviously, at Tottenham game where he got an assist, which led to 2-pointers. So, but I like his next 2 fixtures, Burnley and obviously Wolves. And yeah, I do like the fixtures that Caicedo has. He had 3 goals, 1 assist this season, but it's just a bit more exciting, I think, bringing a player like that instead of one that's really obvious. I think he is one that could potentially be good for the next 2 games to bring in, and if not, if it don't work out, then I can obviously switch that out for someone else that has a better, obviously, goal, attack, and obviously assist as well. But yeah, it's looking like I'm going with that option for Caicedo and Kudus out. It might be the typical week where Kudus gets a return and Caicedo blanks, but that is the way of fantasy, and we have to obviously go with how fantasy likes to treat us in a week. But yeah, that's what I'm looking towards going for. I only use one through transfer. I don't really necessarily need to change the rest of the team. I quite like it. I want to see what else this team can do in the next coming game weeks. If it doesn't do well, you might see some more changes, but the way it's set up at the moment, I'm kind of liking the 5 at the back. So we're going to roll with it and see if that does help my rank at all overall. But yeah, I think that is pretty much it in terms of the plans. And you've seen my team, and obviously you've seen how well I did last game week. So I think that covers all bases of this obviously video. So yeah, I think obviously we've got Conference League tonight and Europa League football. So there's a couple of Premier League teams playing tonight, which again could affect results in the weekend. As a lot of teams may struggle, may not struggle, and that could affect obviously performance. But regardless of that, obviously thank you guys for watching. As always, nice to be back. Hopefully we pick up a few returners. Obviously you're probably wondering where we've been, but yeah, we are back for FPL and obviously the full 90 as well. So don't forget to subscribe, guys, like the video, and leave a comment down below if you wish. And yeah, good luck obviously for the game week. Our next stream will be the next team selection for game week 12. So until then, good luck. Hope you have a good week. And yeah, we'll see you in the obviously the next video. So take care, guys, and yeah, see you soon.